It's working. This is beautiful. So happy right now. Turn this off now. I know that I'm up and running, which is good. Start this here in a second. For those of you who are here, thank you for joining. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. That's perfect there. Let's put this just a bit smaller. That's perfect. If anybody wants to talk, they can. It's perfect. Get my little group chat going off of Google Hangouts, which is where we are. We're broadcasting off of Google Hangouts. Let's go here now. This is where we are.
Want to start an online business but don't have the budget or the products to sell? 2017, I, Pharrell Williams, created a song that will publicly be released in
Okay. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna start this thing off. I'm gonna make an announcement on Facebook. I'm not sure who's here, if anybody is here yet. I am ready. I have the group chat going on Hangouts. I'm also on YouTube Live. So if anybody says anything, I will be receiving it. I am now going to make an announcement on Facebook about this. So let me do that now. Okay, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm even rolling up my sleeves. Okay, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It is Paul Carpenter. I am about to start my seminar online, so I wanted to let everybody know. I wanted to get online here on Facebook and let you guys know where I am going to be doing this, so that all of you can come and watch. I have just put a link in the comments so you can see it. For those of you who don't know what's going on, I have been talking about it for a couple weeks now. I've been getting ready to do a seminar, and the seminar, I'm doing it today for those of you who are interested. And it's going to be on neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis. And so I am about to start that now. I'm already live on YouTube. So if you wanted to go check it out, you can go check me out there, which is where the link is. And I'm going to start the seminar here in just a moment. Right now, just waiting for some people to show up. And so I said that it would start at 10 o'clock. So I've got a little bit of time. I figured I would put the link up. I would go live now with you guys and let you know what I'm doing. So that way, fix this real quick. Switch this out. Okay. I'm excited. I got all my notes. I've got like a book. It really is almost a book. It is a seminar, all the notes for the seminar that I put together. And if you want the link to the seminar and you want a link to the seminar notes, those are on the Facebook the Facebook page, the event page. If you're looking for that, you can just go down on my Facebook page, and it's the second little thing down or third little thing down, and you can easily find that there. So I'll be easily grabbing anybody who talks to me here. If anybody comes in and says anything and wants to put any comments or anything, you can write comments here. You can also write comments on Facebook Live for anything. I'm going to grab the event page here that I have and grab the seminar workbook link, and I'm going to post it also on my Facebook page. So I'll just share this. See if I can. Here, I'll just do it this way. Oh, here we go. I think this does it, right? Well, it doesn't still. It does. Okay, good. That's great. So that's perfect. Let's. Okay. Let's kick that out of here. And I'll just put the link up. All right. Are you going to be doing this on YouTube and also staying on Facebook Live? So, Nick, I think what I'm going to be doing is leaving this and then also, but I'm not going to be showing any of the stuff that, that's on the seminar on Facebook Live. I'm just going to be doing a live video of me talking, of me doing this. That's all that it's going to be, really. In the meantime, I've got like a slew of things. I've got like 15 windows open, and so I'm going to be placing on my so right here. So I just put a link in the comments here that would go straight to the PDF file for the seminar workbook. So there's that. And let's see. So I think I'll be ready in about now. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm just waiting for some people to show up to the live feed to see who's there and see if anybody's going to grab onto the chat there and say hello. So I'm just waiting to see what's going there. I'm sure some people will be joining here in a little bit. I don't know who's with me here. Oh, this is Nick. So Nick, I don't know if you've gone to the link yet. Can you see anything on YouTube? Could you check for me? That would be really nice for me to see what's going there. If you can see what's on the page there, and if you can hear my voice, that would be amazing. Whoever else is joining, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming in. I'm excited. Today's a really good day. It's going to be a fun day. It's a lot of information, just in case you don't know. I have 2 seminars that I'm giving today. So It's gonna be a lot of fun. These two seminars. The first one is called Desire to Inspire. At least that's the title that I'm going with, and it's going to be a full-on breakdown about communication, neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, a couple different techniques that you can use to define your life and also let things go, a way of using some cognitive behavioral techniques through a seminar that I went to. So there's a lot of cool things. So if you want to come and see this seminar, I'm starting in about 8-9 minutes on YouTube Live. I'm on YouTube Live now. My YouTube creator account is youtube.com/Paul David Carpenter. I guess I could just add that in there really quickly as well. To watch the event, go to my YouTube page. YouTube.com/Paul David Carpenter. That's me. So okay, so I like I said, I don't know if anybody is going, but that's the link. Just grab the. I think you can. I don't know if you can do it off your phone, but you can do it on your computer. Good morning, David Reich. How you doing, sir? I'm starting the seminar here in just a moment on YouTube Live. It is going to be my hypnosis, mentalism, and marketing. It's 2 different seminars, and I'm going to be doing both of them today. If you'd like to watch, please go to my YouTube channel. That's where it's going to be happening in a moment. I will start around 10 o'clock. So for those of you who want to come and watch. And I am ready at all times whenever anybody wants to chat through YouTube and or through Google Hangouts. So that's how I'm doing it, using Google Hangouts and YouTube and going live. And I've been studying this process alone seemed like it took forever. It was insane. Something as simple as wanting to just broadcast and show some people some information. So we're going to be doing that here in a moment. Like I said, I'm really excited. I have never done all of this information the way that I'm doing it all at once. And so it should be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you get something out of it. So, and once again, if you want to take this seminar and you want to like keep up with what I'm doing, there's a seminar workbook. I just posted the link down below. That will also allow you to know what it is that we're doing, so you can keep up. At least you can see something. And the workbook, it looks something like this. I printed one out, and basically it has all of the different things that we're going to be talking about, and then little spaces where it's open, so that you fill it out yourself while you're keeping up with me. Like I try to make this as good as possible for you guys. So good morning, my friend Steve Hill. Good morning. I am about to be going live on my YouTube for the seminar. If you'd like to watch the seminar, or if you want to come check it out, you go to my YouTube channel. All the links are in the comments down below. I'm still waiting for some people to show up for the seminar. Hopefully some more people will show up soon, and we'll start this whole thing. And like I said, it's all backwards. What's all backwards? Oh, you're saying this is all backwards. Yes, it's backwards for you because of the camera. But if you print it, it would not look backwards. I think it would look rightwards. I don't know how to do that for you right now, but it would look right. It would look right. Anyways. So any moment now, I will be starting. I've got about 4 minutes, and I'm going to start this little thing. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, I've been working out a little bit. I don't know if you've been following the little thing that I've been doing, but I've been doing that. So, would you do me a favor, Steve? Could you go to my YouTube channel and actually check, stay on here and go to YouTube at the same time? I don't know if you can do that. I guess you would have to have a computer next to you. But could you check to see if the live feed's going through and you can actually hear what's going? It says I'm live, but I don't trust technology. So, not all the time, at least. So if you could do that for me, if you could go in there and maybe you could go into the live feed and chat with me in there, just so I can know that it's working, I would love you forever and ever. Sure, sure, sure. And I should be able to see when people enter and actually are actually watching. At least that's what it says as well. But I don't believe it, I tell you. Thank you, sir. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go see my own YouTube. I'm gonna go see my own live feed. See what that looks like. Might trip me out a little bit. All right, go to my own. Oh. All right. Oh. Looks like it's working. At least from what I can tell, it sounded like I could hear myself. So it seems as though there are people who are. Oh, look, there are two viewers. Now there's one viewer. I believe that could be you, my dear. I'm going to say hello, hello, viewers. So any moment now, I will be starting the complete seminar. I'm going to be doing both of those seminars. It's on the links right underneath. If you want to check them out, please check them out. It's going to be doing that now, any minute. And then once I do that, I won't be really involved so much on the Facebook live feed anymore. I think I'm only going to be using it for questions. If you have any questions or anything like that, if you can hear it, then that's what I'll be doing. Thank you very much, Alex. I really appreciate that. So I won't be doing anything. I will only be doing conversations as far as questions are going on. You won't be able to see anything, by the way, while I'm doing this. You to see the seminar, you have to go to the YouTube channel and actually see it there. That's where you're going to actually get all the videos and all the stuff that I'm going to be doing in the background and yada 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 and all that good stuff. So I don't know if you can type to me in YouTube. I tried just now. I typed to everybody. I said, hello, viewers, but nothing happened. So I don't know if anybody's responding. There's one person that's watching. I don't know who that person is, though. So once again, if you'd like to watch the seminar, I really appreciate you coming over and watching on YouTube Live. We are about to do it. You should see a logo, my logo, and it should say Desire to Inspire Seminar for Change. That's where this is going to be happening. So if you want to watch it, you have to go there. I'm going to give it about another 10 minutes. I figured that's what was going to happen today anyways. So I'm going to give it about another 10 minutes because there were some people who did write to me and say that they wanted to come see the show. Good morning, my llama. Good morning, Nicole. So if you want to see the seminar, if you're interested in checking out the seminar today, come and check it out now. It's on YouTube Live. And once again, I'm just waiting for some people to show up. Now we're going to start. If you want to keep up with the seminar and you want the PDF file that goes along with this, you can download the PDF file. I put a link in the comments below. The easiest probably way to do this is to do this off of your computer. It probably work on your phone, But I would just say if you wanted to be more comfortable, I would watch this on your computer. I would, shut down all the other background videos and anything else that's out there that you're watching, YouTube channels or whatever else, and close all that down so you can be totally involved in what we're about to do. Because what I'm about to show you, I honestly believe, and I'm not just saying this, I honestly believe that the information that I'm about to share today is very intense information. It's stuff that most people would charge lots of money to do, to even just teach one part of this, even one tenth of the part of what I'm teaching today. I've seen people spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars on what I'm about to teach. So if you want to watch the seminar, please, I beg you with heart and hand, come to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Paul David Carpenter. And we will begin the seminar here in about 7 minutes. So if you want to see the seminar, if you've heard about the seminar, I'm going to be doing it today. Today is the day, 4 days before Valentine's. It's my present to the world, I tell you. It is. And so, any moment now, like I said, we're going to do this. Oh. So for those of you who are here, thank you very much. Thank you for showing up, for coming to the seminar. I am going to be starting, like I said, in about 7 minutes or so. In the meantime, if you'd like, you can grab the PDF file. I will once again grab that. I'll also place it in here on the YouTube channel to let everybody know exactly where it is and what's going on, so you can grab that as well for yourself. Hey, John, how you doing, man? I don't know if you posted to me. John, how you doing? I believe someone else is here. Joseph Lynn is here. I'm about to do my seminar. If you'd like to come see my seminar, I'm going to be doing both seminars that I've put together today. And one of them is on neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis, and the other one is going to be completely on how to market and brand yourself here in the new age. So that's what I'm going to be teaching today. If you'd like, come on down. I am now back on the YouTube channel, and I am posting here in the comments section, which is where you can grab the PDF file. Just click on it, boom, it downloads, and you're right into it. You can watch or look at the PDF file, or you can print one out if you'd like. I wouldn't do that. It took a lot of paper. It's quite a little book, but you can at least have that to the side so you know what to do. If you want to print one out, you can. But once again, I wouldn't. It took like 40 something pages to print, which is not what I really wanted to do. But I wanted to have enough space for everybody that was going to watch. So they had enough area to fill in their own space and fill in their own little messages, little things that they had learned along the way while we did this. Okay, I think I'm going to start now. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to start my seminar. So if you want to see it, once again, if you want to see the seminar and you're watching here on Facebook, the best place to see it is going to be on YouTube. That way, it has all the slides. It has all of the really cool kind of tidbits, if you will. And there's also some cool videos I'm going to be sharing with you guys so that you can catch some of the ideas and get some more of the ideas in there. If you want to see that, if you're watching me on Facebook, you want to see it, it's going to be on Paul David Carpenter. That's youtube.com/Paul David Carpenter. I'm going live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to see that, I would appreciate the 3 people who are watching here on Facebook. Come on over to YouTube and catch a seat to the seminar, as I'm about to start any second now. And for those of you who are here, for those of you who are here and getting ready for the seminar, once again, please download the PDF so you can have a workbook next to you. And for all of you who are ready to watch the seminar, my name is Paul Carpenter, and I'm about to start my Mentally Hip seminar. So for everybody out there, thank you very much for coming and watching. I'm going to start here in like 2 seconds. I'm like, once again, I don't want to start and then have somebody come in seconds later. So if you're going to watch and you have just left from my Facebook page and you're running over to YouTube right now, I'm going to wait for you before I start. But then I am going to start, and then we're going to do this. And like I said, you're not going to be able to see anything here. So if you do want to watch it, please go to the YouTube channel and watch the YouTube seminar, because that's where it's happening. It's happening. See, here, I'll show you. See, it's happening. It's happening. I don't want to stop the broadcast, so I won't. When is Mardi Gras? Mardi Gras is right now, sir. Mardi Gras is right now. All right, so all right, here we go. I'm going to start now. We're going to do this. So for those of you who are here, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to watch my seminar and for coming to be involved. My name is Paul Carpenter, and I want to say thank you once again to everybody who came out, who's coming to watch this or who will see this in the future. For those of you who came to the recording of this right now, thank you very much for coming to that recording, and thank you very much for watching this. So I want to introduce myself. My name is Paul Carpenter. I am a magician and hypnotist. I've been a neurolinguistic programming coach and a hypnotist and magician most of my life. I've been traveling around the world now for some 15 years, performing and doing everything I can to make somebody really feel a change in their life. So the question I get a lot of times is, why listen to me, right? Why listen to you, Paul? What do you have to tell me? What do you have to show? What are you going to do for me, buddy? So the answer to that is this. I'm a guy who has most of my life gone and done pretty much anything that it is that I wanted to do. I have 2 world records. I've had my own off-Broadway show. I've been featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not. Like I said, I'm a world traveler. I'm also a musician. I've been an actor, a certified NLP coach, certified hypnotherapist. I've worked for MGM. I've worked for Kid Rock. I've worked for the Kiss Cruise. I've been a street performer all over the world. But more so than that, I think what it really comes down to is that I have never let any one of my goals stop me from accomplishing them in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, you can see that through just some of the things that I've just mentioned to you. So what is the seminar about? These 2 seminars are pretty much the embodiment of everything that I've ever put together. It's everything that I've ever learned in some way, shape, or form that revolves around neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, communication, branding, marketing, and all of the nuances that go into it. So that's what this seminar is really all about. So my hope in this is that you come to the seminar, you find even just one tidbit out of the next couple of hours that we might share together. And I really hope that you can gather something, even if it's just one of these effects, one of these moments, one of these modules, if you will. I hope that even just one of these can help change something for you in your life and help you live a more dynamic existence. I myself believe wholeheartedly that I live a very dynamic existence in the sense that I am always ready to go and ready to go into the next challenge and the next adventure. So I want to let you know that once again, whoever is watching this, you have to realize that the information that I'm putting out here is information that some people I've seen charge $10,000 for, and this is only for some parts of what I'm talking about. I know people right now that go out and find marketing tools on the internet that, at first it'll say, hey, just sign up for free and you get this thing, a PDF file. Then after that, it's $69 for, a couple ideas. And then before you know it, it's $2,000 for one-on-one support. And then before you know it, it's $10,000 for you to be able to get the full-on experience of this whole thing. And that's exactly what this whole series is really all about. It's teaching you how to actually create that for yourself, how to create that idea, that dynamic of creating a product that you can give away, that you can also charge for, that you can also help people with, that you can also then become a consultant to other people with. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what the first part of the seminar is, to basically understand communication coming from where ourselves are coming from and also where other people are coming from. Then understanding not only that, but how to get rid of our anxieties, how to get some of our regrets out of the way. And then not only that, how to then define the thing that we want to do and then start moving in that direction with steps that take you towards that direction. So that's the first part of the seminar. The second part of the seminar is going to be completely based on branding and marketing and all of the things that it would take for you to go from taking an idea and branding that idea, or taking your concept or your music, whatever it is that you want to create. Okay, so let's move on. Now that we're here, let's move on to the first slide. I'm excited. I'm very excited about this. We're moving on to something new here. So I want to thank you once again for coming. My name is Paul Carpenter. Thank you for coming to the Seminar for Change. It's called Desire to Inspire. And I want to go ahead and get into this. We're going to go ahead and start up. I'm excited. I'm really excited, by the way, for this. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time. So here on the first slide, what you're going to see is the index. And here is everything that I want to go through. I'm going to go through the explanation of this seminar, what hypnosis NLP is, the VAC system, IEP, the animal types, theory of mind, 5 levels of consciousness, cognitive behavioral techniques, a matrix system, and also something that's called tapping, which comes from emotional freedom techniques. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about what is hypnosis and what is NLP. So hypnosis is when you use words and you put somebody into an altered state. And in that altered state, you use those words to program or reprogram somebody's mind. So if you think about it like this, there's also what is called neuro-linguistic programming, right? Neurological linguistic programming. And if you listen to just the words of what that is, neurological linguistic programming, programming the mind through words. And what is it that we're talking about hypnosis being, but programming the mind through words? So in essence, hypnosis is NLP and NLP is hypnosis. Now, they say that hypnosis only happens whenever you're doing it during an altered state. But what is an altered state? This is one of the questions I ask. What is an altered state? Because if we can't even prove reality, right, then how do I know what an altered state is? And granted, I know that that's a bit flighty with what I'm saying, but what I'm talking about here is the idea of an altered state is always constantly happening to us. We are constantly vibing up and down in our states. So the next thing we want to talk about is neuro-linguistic programming is where a lot of the basis of this information is going to be coming from. Now, a lot of this also is I have taken many of these ideas and these concepts, and this goes for both of the seminars. I've gone through many different things here where sorry, I have somebody asking for the workbook, and I seem to have not opened it up to the privacy settings. But as I was saying, many of the ideas that I've taken here have been made to make it as simple as possible. I wanted to take every single one of the concepts of the things that I'm talking about here and make them as simple as possible, to the point where a child could understand the concepts. So let's get back into this whole thing. When we get into the idea of neurolinguistic programming, there's a lot of words that a lot of people may not understand, like what is the VAC system? What is the visual auditory kinesthetic? What is a submodality? What is the frame? What is a mirror? And so today we're going to go through all of those things. And one of the first things that we learn about is the submodalities. And the submodalities are going to teach us where somebody is coming from. So I want you to, if you can, I'm gonna just turn this on here in a second. I want to watch this video with you guys so you can see this. I want you to understand what it is that's happening. Now, in the visual accessing cues, you will look into one direction or another dependent on what side of the brain you're using. So depending on whether you're using the logical side or the remembered side, if you will. So the logical side is going to be numbers. The remembered side is going to be colors and sounds. And so there's going to be a connection when somebody talks without them knowing. And these are involuntary muscle reactions that happen during the talk. And nobody does this on purpose. It just happens. Now, I have to put a little kind of stipulation marker here that 80% of what we're talking about is not necessarily going to work across the board. These are tools that you use to start to define people in front of you, your client, or someone that you're selling to, or somebody that you're just trying to communicate with in the best way. So we're going to watch this video really quickly. And I can come to it. There we go. And here you are going to get to see what the visual accessing cues look like.
Okay, can you tell me the colour of your front door when you grew up?
White.
What would the front door look like if it was covered in graffiti?
Matte.
What does your mother's voice sound like?
Oh.
What would her voice sound like if you had a witch's voice?
Sound like rock.
If you're walking on the beach, you have no socks on, walking in the sand, what would that feel like?
Feel cold and wet.
And can you recite for me the 13 times table, just in your mind, not out loud, just in your mind? That's great. Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you.
So as you can see there, you can see how those accessing cues, they turn into a different point of the mind. The person is literally using a different part of the brain to access that thing. So the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, this is where the VAC system comes into play. So if you want to look at if you want to kind of define these three separate people, look at the visual person as somebody who stands up very straight walks very quickly, speaks very quickly, and is very rapid in the manner of how he is able to intake the information, very visually accessible. Auditory is somebody who sits back, listens more, and you can see that they're a little bit more into themselves. And the kinesthetic is even more into themselves. And kinesthesia, by the way, is the feeling, the touch, or the smell. Okay. So now that you have these kinds of people, you can represent these kinds of people in some way, shape, or form inside your mind. So you can also represent where you kind of hold place. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, listen, I feel more like I am visual. I feel more like I'm auditory, or I feel like I'm visual and kinesthetic. And that's totally okay. Many times, what you'll find out is that you are a mix of those things. But we usually find one that is hardwired to us more so than the other. So in the video prior to that, I showed you, or you saw in the video, the person was looking in different quadrants based on what they were doing. Now, the way that I like to do this and just break it down to simple is left is lying or logical, or right is remembered or telling the truth. And so it makes that whole entire thing that we just looked at much simpler to break down. And it works in the VAK system. So if you were to make a small little circular head with two eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and you put VAK next to it, you put left on the top and the right on the other side of the head. You could put logic one side, lying, and then right, remembered on the other side. Now you have a kind of idea of where that goes. So now you have and once again, you can't just like if you ask somebody a question, all of a sudden they look to the left and they say something to you. You can't be like, hey, you're lying. I know you're lying because Paul Carpenter taught me the VAC system, and you look to your left, which means you're making up lies. You can't do that. It's not how this works. These once again are just tools to give you a better understanding. These tools are things that you have to use each piece, and these are the small nuances that will make a really nice stew for the client, for the person, for whoever you're communicating with. And this can include communicating with yourself. So moving on, the idea that your VAC system creates your frame of thought. Okay. So what does that mean? So it means the way that you view the world, the way that you see things, the way that it comes to you, the way that you're accepting it comes through that. Now, in the previous moments, I was talking about in the VAC system, I was talking about the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Now, in these systems, the person will actually speak in a certain manner, not just walk a certain way or talk a certain way, but they'll actually speak in a certain manner. So the visual will actually say, do you see what I'm saying? The auditory will say, hey, can you hear me, man? And the kinesthetic will say, do you feel me? Do you feel what I'm saying, buddy? So those are those kinds of thought processes. That's the frame. That's where you're coming from. It's how you hear things every day. And remember that everything that we say to ourselves, I don't know if you know this, but 90% of the things that you say to yourself are usually negative statements. So if you could only change that 90% down to 80% even, your life or the life of your client or whoever you're helping in life would change dramatically. So the idea of the frame comes into the idea of this next idea that conversations can only go one of three ways. This is you overpowering their frame, them overpowering your frame, or both of you butting heads and agreeing to disagree. Now, if somebody says that they've agreed to disagree with you, that means that you, as the communicator, did not express that to the person in a way that they were able to accept it. You see, because all thoughts, all ideas that come to us come from an idea prior to it. So I only know cup because I know flat surface, because I know the side walls, because I put flat surface and side walls together, I get cup. And so I have to have a concept prior to it for me to understand it later, for me to agree with it, for me to say, yes, that's true, because I know that this prior thing agrees to that thing. So that means that somewhere in the conversation, you were not able to acquire that and make that person say make, but have that person understand what it was that you were trying to express to them. Okay, so let's move on. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what's called mirroring. Now, mirroring works in a couple different ways. You can actually mirror somebody by just doing exactly what this photo shows, which is to mirror the image of the person in front of you. And doing so, it makes the subconscious of that person more, or the unconscious mind, more connected to you. And this might happen in many different ways. There are people who teach this in many different types of courses in neurolinguistic programming, that when you meet somebody that you want to become more friendly with, and make it seem as though the time has been shrunk between the time that you've known each other to the amount of time that you've known each other, you could say to the person, I feel like you're the kind of person that I've known, or that I knew from when I was a child. It seems as though you and I have spent an enormous amount of time together, even though it's only been a short amount of time. Now, just saying that statement, and the thing is, you've said this to somebody in your life before. And the reason for it, believe it or not, is that in the unconscious patterns that the person was giving to you, they were communicating to you something that made you feel comfortable, which comes to these ideas of the message units. These ideas of all of these different things that we're talking about are forms of message units. Visual is a message unit. Auditory is a message unit. Kinesthetic is a message unit. Mirroring somebody, which is nonverbal communication, which 80% of all communication is nonverbal, is a form of doing the same thing. It's an unconscious talk back and forth. This is the way that a lot of people are taught. Many people who got to be McDonald's over the years, they get to go to a very beautiful seminar called Top of Mind. And in one of those parts of the seminar, they actually get to talk. They actually get to take a seminar in how not to talk, but still be represented within the room. Excuse me, just taking a little break there. All right, so once again, all of these are forms of message units for you to connect to your client, to your customer, to your friend, to whoever in life. This is all about trying to have better communication with yourself and with other people in life. Now, the next thing I want to talk about are your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, and your actions. This comes from neurolinguistic programming as well. It comes from somebody I studied with when I was in Israel. His name is Rabbi Pliskin. If you want to check him out, he's written, I think, about 35 books on the subject of neurolinguistic programming, and he is just an amazing human being. Now, this is a very simple idea, and it comes from, this is not so much a simple idea. It's actually kind of a big idea, but it goes like this. You are not your brain or your body. You're not your hair. You're not your eyeball. You're not your heart. You're not your liver. You're not any part. One part of you is not anything of you. And your thoughts are something that you can't really control, right? You don't know the thought before you have the thought, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So you have to realize that on some level, we are just a vessel, right? And inside, let's pretend we're like an airplane. And inside the airplane, there's a black box. Now, that black box has every instrument connected to it. It has the altitude, it has what it sees on the outside with the plane's computers. It knows how many people are inside. It knows the weight ratios. It knows every single thing that's happening inside of the plane, but it's not the pilot. You are the pilot. You are the pilot of the plane. The black box is nothing more, or the brain is nothing more than the black box. And here's something that's really peculiar but true. There is no difference to the black box of the information that it is given or whether it is actually flying and taking in information. And your brain works exactly the same way. It knows no difference between what you actually are doing and what you tell it that you're doing, which means that it's like a computer in which you can literally download information that you create inside of your own mind. So you can literally go on an adventure, live in a whole world of your own, have experiences that nobody else could ever have because you created them for yourself. Now you might say to me, hey, wait a second. Wouldn't that make me crazy? Wouldn't that make me completely obscene and outside of the norm? And people would say, you don't really see these people. You don't really see these things. And I would say, on some level, yes. And on another level, completely no. Now, I would say to Disney, Walt Disney, when he was first drawing things and saying that he saw a world and he saw Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse running around the streets and kids running up to them and being, I don't think that at any point in time he thought that that was not real. That was something that he was creating in his own mind, in his own reality. And it became something that was real and it became real for other people. The thought first comes in, that has to create the feeling. That feeling creates a mood, and that mood then creates an action. So not only does that work for you, but that also works for the person that you are connecting with, the person that you're speaking with, and the person that you're connecting to. Once again, you can use this not only for conversations, but also for yourself. Now, I want to get into this next part of the seminar, and this is what we're going to get into. It's called the intellectual, the emotional, physical 1, and physical 2. Now, if you were to take this and to draw a human being and draw the head, maybe a circle for the chest, a small circle for the stomach, and a small circle for the reproductive organs, you could look at this and you could say intellectual, emotional, physical 1, physical 2. Now, if you take this and you are to break it down, you can see that there's 2 physical parts, 1 emotional part and 1 intellectual part. Now, what does that mean, really, right? The thing is that if you take the physical part, you push it away. The only way to do so is to use an intellectual and emotional connection so that you overpower or at least make an even keel of the 2 things that are there. So, what you're going to do is you're going to spend an enormous amount of hours on something that you care about. And then you're going to realize, oh my God, I can't believe I spent all this time doing this. I forgot to eat. And so that's the intellectual and the emotional overpowering the physical want or need. And doing so, you can make someone or yourself do things that you would normally never do. But it's always about creating an emotional connection. The emotional connection is everything to what you want. The more you can connect to something emotionally within yourself, the more you can actually start driving your intellectual thoughts towards that. So if you really, for instance, like when you were a kid, first you had to see something that you wanted before you could then intellectually find a way to manipulate your parents or work to get the thing that you wanted, depending on how old you were, of course. And that's the way it works still to this day, right? So that's how that next message unit or next set of message units comes through. So now let's go to this next piece. Let me see what happened here. Okay. Awesome. 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 Okay. So let's talk about this next thing here. And that's going to be types of people. Now, you can break down humanity as many times as you want. You can break them down into many different types of sections. There's been lots of people who have done this before and have put this information out there in some way, shape, or form. I've seen the breakdown of in 4. I've seen it done with 8. I've seen 13. I've seen many different types, and you can really very easily break it down into these 4. I've seen this system before, and I kind of took this system and changed it into my own so that you could see and understand what this is all about, the idea of it all. So there's the lion, the owl, the tiger, and the lamb. And these are different types of people that you will just kind of have representations of these things that we've talked about so far as pieces in your mind. Now, I use these on a daily basis, by the way. I use these in conversation. I use these when I'm on stage performing. This information is so good and so heavy that I believe anybody can really grab it, use it, and take it on for themselves so that they can learn something and they can feel as though they are really learning some really heady, awesome information. Something that can help them with their life and once again help them with their communications. So let's get into it. There's the lion. The lion is about the pride, thinking about everybody in the group. He is very strong. He's very beautiful. He likes to have nice things, but he's not so much boastful about them. He can have other men around and still be very okay with that. Yet there's always only one strong male, just like in a gorilla. There's only one strong silverback. Same conceptual idea. The lion, very strong, very forward thinking. The owl is going to be, let's pretend, the character with the glasses. He's very nerdy, intellectual, wants to know every aspect of something, has to know the ins and outs of every single piece of information, can't just let it go, needs to know the decimal point of what it is that he's talking about. The tiger is stripes, is flashy, probably drives a Lamborghini, wants to show off his stuff to his friends. And he's not doing it in a bad way, in the sense, well, you never know. I mean, it's all relative, right? He's doing it in a manner where he's really expressing a sense of pride from himself. He's proud of who he's been, what he's done, what he's accomplished, who he became. And the lamb is very meek, and you have to very slowly bring it into the fold, um, teach it slowly, maybe prod it a little bit sometimes even. But yeah, that's the way that those are the 4 different types of people. Now, I want to mention that when you're thinking about these types of people, you have to think also about the type of communication that you're trying to have with that person. So once again, if you were, let's say, in a sales type situation and you were speaking to the lion, you would then go up to the lion and speak to him in a manner that would be much more speaking about his family, speaking about how this thing is going to last a long period of time, speaking about how everyone around him will feel so good that he thought about them and that he created this idea or did this thing for them or bought this thing for them. The owl, on the other hand, you would get into the technical details. You would express every single aspect of the ratio, for instance, of a camera. You would get into all of the small details of uh, instruments that you could use with it. Everything that you could get, as much technical points or technical points that you could get into with the person would make them that much happier. The person who is a tiger, you would sell them in the sense that you would tell them that, you know, uh, that look at how everybody's gonna see you in this car or in this piece of clothing. Everybody's gonna be you're gonna be the talk of the town. Everybody's gonna want to hang out with you. That's how you would sell the tiger and the lamb. It would show them slowly how this thing is good for them, how it would work for them, how it would make them more comfortable, how it would do things for them that would make them feel and think about the product in a good possible way. So those are the lion, the owl, the tiger, and the lamb. Once again, all of these are different forms of message units. And all of that we're going to get into, and I'm going to explain it to you here in a minute so you can totally understand what I'm talking about. The reason that I'm going to it like this is because this is the only way to really truly understand the information. I first give you all the puzzle pieces, then we start to really define the puzzle, and then we make the entire puzzle for you. So what we're talking about here on this next page is what is called the layers of consciousness. Now, I've seen this in many different ways and forms, and I've actually seen this with many more points of interest when it comes to the theory of the mind, and all of these things. And honestly, it's okay. I just don't think that we need to get into the real heavy, deep parts of this understanding. I think that what we have here is going to be just fine for you to understand what it is that we're creating, what it is that we're actually making. So once again, when you look at this, the beta, the alpha, theta, delta, and zeta are all different levels of consciousness. So remember how I said at the beginning of this, we're looking at states of consciousness, or whether you are in a state of consciousness, right? And so, please forgive me as I'm grabbing some papers here that I printed out to be able to give you a better description of everything that's happening. So, in this idea of the layers of consciousness, there is a point in which all of these happen to you at one point or another during your day, except zeta. So let me explain each one of these. Beta is a moment that would be considered of great adrenaline, or a moment of inebriation, losing your inhibitions. So beta is less consciousness, if you will. Alpha would be considered straight conscious wavelengths. You're up and awake, you're walking around, and you're having a beautiful day, right? Theta has 3 layers to it, and they are, or it would also be considered a somnambulism, which is the layer that you want to get to in the consciousness that is where you would affect somebody in hypnosis. Delta also has 3 spaces to it, and this is also known as REM, or rapid eye movement, which is actually only one section of your night dream pattern, if you will. Now, zeta is where you have absolutely no consciousness whatsoever, and you're basically just a vegetable. So you would say probably about 10% consciousness, if anything. I would say 0, honestly. So it's 0 to 100 right there, and then all the way up to alpha, which would be, say, a 90-10. So you're 90% conscious, and about 10% of your subconscious is in the background, if you will. But that's usually doing most of the work, no matter what. So let's go through what a typical day would be like. So if you'd like, on a piece of paper, write down beta, alpha, theta, delta, zeta, and write down a graph type period. So you would have a L-shaped line on your page, and you would have beta, alpha, theta, delta, zeta going all the way down, and you would have AM and then PM for when you woke up to when you went to sleep. Now, you would start somewhere in the delta range prior to you waking up. This would be REM sleep. You then go through the theta. You then get into the alpha, and you're awake, and you have to go through your day. And so you're doing alpha waves, and you're running around, and maybe you're late for work. So maybe there's beta there, and you're just freaking out for a second. Maybe there's honking horns, or the day's going crazy. It's going up and down, up and down. And then all of a sudden you're at work, and you're just kind of sitting there, and you're kind of bored. And you're just really, and it's kind of just dead waves. And that's getting towards those theta zones where you get kind of sleepy and kind of bored at work. And then all of a sudden you have to go back home, and you have to cook dinner. And then all of a sudden you're sitting in front of the TV, and then you get tired. And then all of a sudden you go back slowly to sleep. And okay, so that was your whole day. So because you can see there's like a graph there. And if you were to go even farther into that graph, you could see that your conscious wavelengths are moving up and down at all times. But I want you to know that on some level you have an A to B structure. And that A to B structure is going to be A to B number 1, which is your day structure. And then there's an A to B 2, which is your lifetime structure. Now, remember what I said, that there's 3 layers in theta? I'm going to jump a bit and say that there are 3 layers of what's called hypnotic amnesia. Now, 3 layers of hypnotic amnesia work like this. The first layer is that no matter what was done or said during the hypnosis, the person remembers every single part of it. The second layer would be that whatever happened is forgotten until expressed to that person, whether it's shown or seen. The person then only remembers after being told. And the third layer is not remembering anything even after you're shown or seen. So these are those 3 different forms of what you would call the theta layers that go into the hypnotic amnesia layers. Now, delta has 3 stages to it as well. Like I said, the REM stage is only one part of that stage. Let's break down a sleep state to only 6 hours. So the first 2 hours I like to call the rewind. The next 2 hours I like to call the playback. And the next 2 hours I like to call the defrag. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go back to the first 2 hours. When you go to sleep and you first go to sleep, you basically knock out, and there is just darkness. You don't really go straight into dream pattern world. And what's happening here is that your mind is rewinding through the entire day and taking specific points of interest to then play back to you later. Now, that playback area, that second stage, which is REM sleep, those are your dreams. Now, dreams can last anywhere from 3 to 30 seconds, at least a dream cycle. But now a dream period can last many, many long periods, longer than that, up to 45 minutes, up to an hour, 2 hours. Now, within that, you'll have many of these dreams that are 3 to 30 seconds long. And what we like to do as human beings is tie them all together to try and tell ourselves a story. But many times, what it is that one image in particular is all that you're really supposed to be trying to get into and understand. So going back to the 3 moments of the delta, you have your rewind, you have your playback, and you have your defrag. Now, going back into the playback section, I want you to notice that the dreams happen based on something that you are not taking care of in your daily life. So it could be a fear, it could be a phobia, it could be also something that was tragic or traumatic that happened to you that you still haven't dealt with on a conscious, intellectual, emotional level. So that's where you will be getting a reoccurring dream. Many times what's really good to do is to actually find out what those images in a dream mean so that you can actually start to deal with it in a better way. So the second stage, the dream playback stage, and then going into the next stage, which is the chunking, layering, or what I call defrag. Now, on a computer, on a PC, there's a section in your computer that's called defrag. Now, what this does is that many times when you open up a program in your computer, it has to go to different sections of your computer to make that program open up. And for instance, it needs to actually grab that file for the program. It needs to open up a visual cortex program, for instance, I guess, something to auditory for that thing, so on and so forth, so that it can then show you the program that you want. Now, if you close your computer, if you turn it off, or you unplug your computer quickly in some way, shape, or form, then these files are left out in the open, and they don't go to the places that they're supposed to go back to. Now, what your brain does every night is at the end of your dreams, at the end of everything, it compiles everything together and it puts it into a slot in the A and B of number 2, which is your lifetime, and it leaves it in a space, boop, for the day. Let's say today's date, 2/10/2018, boop, it puts it in there, and that's where it stays. So that is how a whole day goes by. Now, it's all forms of message units. Remember, the whole concept here is all of this is about message units, and each one of these are learning about the next message unit. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is what is called the theory of the mind. And this is where a lot of these pieces of information are going to come together for us to understand how the mind is overwhelmed and how hypnosis, or how a thought is given to us and we accept it. And so as you can see here, I have written down flight or fight, knowns, critical factor, types of information. So as we were saying, all of those are forms of message units. Now, if you look on this next page, you'll see that here I have at the bottom flight or fight. I have the next is knowns, critical factor, and then message unit. So what I want you to do is on your own page, make a fishbowl. Right? So you're looking at a little piece of paper, just write a little half circle, make it look like a smiley face, and it's a fishbowl, and then draw some dots at the bottom of your fishbowl. Now, those dots are the foundation of your fishbowl. These are going to be considered your flight or fight responses. Now, these are what come to you from the age of 0 to 5 years old. Granted, they're with you with your entire life, but just bear with me as we build the theory of the mind, as we're building from child into adult. So you have these flight or fight responses. They are there from the beginning of life. And the two flight or fight responses are the two reasons that we have flight or fight as a child. The first one is the fear of falling, and the other one is the fear of loud noises. Now, the reason for this is that over the 50,000 years of us being from monkeys to human beings, we would place our babies up off the ground so that the animals or the insects would not be able to get to it. And if the baby would feel like it was about to fall, it would start to make some noise. And if it heard a loud noise, i.e., most likely a tiger, a lion, or a bear, it would make some noise, and hopefully somebody would come and pick it up. So this is where the flight or fight comes into play. Now, once again, that comes in from the age of 0 to about 3 to 5 years old. You're there, right? So from the ages of about 5 to about 8 years old, we're going to start building what is called our knowns. Now, from these little rocks, I want you to make these little, like grass-likes, like little symbols with little leaves on the side, right? This is the underwater grass-like that's going to make some oxygen. It's going to give us our place to breathe. Now, your knowns are either going to be positive or negative. Now, a positive known is something that you know. A negative known is something that you don't know. So it is a positive known for a child to go up to a hot plate and touch it at first, being that he doesn't know, that it is not, that it doesn't hurt him until it hurts him, and then he's a positive known that hurts, and I'm not going to do that again. So that is now turned into a different type of positive known. And so it's an unknown. So that was a negative known that when he touched it, he did not know it was going to burn. And then when he touches it, it does burn him. He does realize, oh my God, that hurts. That is now a positive known. So even though the information might be negative, it is a positive to know that information. So there's a difference between a positive and a negative known, something that I do know or I don't know. Now, there is a small viscous layer at the top of water, and that small viscous layer is going to be called your critical factor. This comes in at the age of around about 10 to 13 years old. And this is when you start to have what I like to call the little people syndrome. And this is when you can actually start to tell when the person's going to be that person, who they're going to be for most of their life after that point. So here, the critical factor is going to be the section that will be a filter to people's BS. So if I were to say to you right now, I don't know what time it is where you are, but if I were to say, don't look outside, but right now the sky is purple, you would say, no, it's not. The sky is blue. 9 times out of 10, we all agree to that. Now, could we be somewhere in the world where the sky is purple because of some sunlight or refraction? Yes, of course, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just in major cases. If I say to you 2 + 2 = 5, you immediately say no. So that's your critical factor. That is that small viscous layer, the filter that would tell you the difference between yes or no, whether that is true or not, whether that is something we know or don't know, a positive or a negative no. Now, above all of these things, above the fishbowl itself, there are message units. Now, these message units are every single thing that we just talked about for the last hour or so. So if you go back all the way to the beginning and you look at the beginning of the seminar, right? And we're looking at everything that we talked about so far. What is hypnosis and what is NLP? What is communication in essence? What is it that we were trying to see when we were looking at other people's visual accessing cues? What were we gathering there? What were we understanding from them? Then on top of that, we go to the next section, which is the visual auditory kinesthetic. That's one form of message unit. Then the frame, right? Now that we understand where they're coming from, that's a form of a message unit, right? So now that I understand where they're coming from, what they're using, the next form of mirroring somebody is a message unit, right? The thoughts, feelings, moods, and actions of the person, that's a message unit. Whether they're in an intellectual or emotional phase, that's a message unit. Whether they're a lion, an owl, a tiger, or a lamb, that's a message unit. Trying to understand where they are in a conscious wavelength, where they are in their mind when you're talking to them, those are all forms of message units. Now, I say all of this, and I don't want you to get too overwhelmed, because what the whole thing was like, what was this all about? Why did you tell me all this information? Why did you give me all this stuff? It's to understand how the mind is overwhelmed. So the same way that a toilet, for instance, works, if you were to take a bucket of water and go to a toilet and dump a bucket of water into the toilet, it flushes itself. Now, it does this because of the way that the pressure works. And your mind works in the same exact manner. That whenever you have too much pressure, too much information, your mind does a dump. It literally just and flushes itself. In this place, a highly skilled hypnotist can very easily start to overwhelm, and has already overwhelmed the conscious mind, and can now start to place more information into that person. This is when you're using communication to now overwhelm that person's frame. Now, you can do this in both, like I said, an intellectual or an emotional manner. The easiest way to get someone to do something for you in the way that you want them to is to do this through an emotional manner. So I want to stop before I go a little bit farther here, because all of this information that we've talked about so far is for two different things. The first part of this information is to really understand communication and understand where you're coming from and what it is that you're creating in the world. And the second part of this information is to find out what other people are saying and how you can understand them better so that you can communicate to them better. So the next part of this that I'm going to get into is something called cognitive behavioral technique. Now, this is something that I took when I went to a seminar, and this the whole next section is something that I got from a seminar that I learned, and I was very impressed with it, and I really wanted to share it with people. So that's why I'm doing that with you today. So in this idea, it's you're using cognitive thoughts to change your own personal behavior or the behavior of somebody else around you. So you can easily look at this page right here, and it says what you resist will persist, and what you embrace you can erase. Now, if you just listen to that sentence again, because it kind of plays, being that it's a poet, it's poetry. But listen to it again. What you resist will persist, but what you embrace, you can erase. And this is so true about everything in life. It's the same as like your challenges in life or your problems or the things that are bothering you. Whatever you resist, whatever problem you have in your life that you resist to look up at and say, I have an issue, I have a problem, it will persist. And the moment that you say, you know what, I have a problem and I have an issue, you're embracing that knowledge, you're embracing that moment within yourself. So this is the way that it takes it. What you resist will persist. What you embrace, you can erase. So knowing that information, you can now use this next very simple sentence. And that sentence is this. And it's very simple. So it goes like this. Anything that you are holding on to that is a regret comes from your past. And anything that you are holding on to that is in the future is an anxiety. It's your anxious thought. So how do you get rid of it? The best way to get rid of it is like this. And you can use this in a daily setting. You can use this in a momentary setting. So as you wake up, let's say you have an anxious thought, and that thought will be, I'm worried that I'm not going to make it to work on time. You could say to yourself very simply and very easily, I recognize this anxious thought. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not important. It's not unimportant. It's reminding me to be here now. I'll say it again. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not important. It's not unimportant. It's reminding me to be here now. Whether that thought is anxious or whether that thought is regretful, all you have to do is recognize the thought and express to yourself that statement. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not important. It's not unimportant. It's reminding me to be here now. So, the next thing that I want to share with you, and I promise you that one thing that I just shared with you is so super powerful. It literally makes things disappear. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is what is called the matrix intention creation technique. So the matrix system is something that a friend of mine, Dan, created, and I asked him for permission. He told me I could share it with everyone. So I wanted to share this. And it works something like this. Um, I want you to imagine that you have in front of you a computer screen that is floating in front of you. So right in front, you've got a screen. And in this screen area, there's going to be two sections. And these are going to be connected to your unconscious part of yourself. Now, as you say things to yourself on a daily basis, there's a person inside of you who receives a little piece of paper, who sits at a desk and waits for those messages to come in. So if you say, "Oh God, I'm so stupid," then it takes that message, puts it into a little area that says, "Well, this person thinks he's not that good." And then if you say to yourself, "You know what, I'm a pretty good guy," then it takes a little piece of paper, comes in and says, "Hey, you know what, he thinks he's nice," puts it in the good pile. So in this area of your matrix, this new fandangled computer system in front of you, you need to put an area that is positive. It's going to be a small circular area. It's going to be like one of those buttons that you could just go and touch it and it does something, or you can turn it, whatever you want. But I want you to make a positive section. So in your rectangular area of your screen, or whatever your screen looks like, I want you to find where the positive section is and place that circle there and lock it into place. And then what I want you to do is I want you to find your negative section somewhere on that screen, imaginary screen in front of you. And I want you to take that and I want you to find the area and lock that into place. And then I also want you to find your little trash can bin and I want you to put that somewhere else. So now what you should have is this computer screen inside your mind's eye with a positive section, a negative section, and a little trash can. So that's very good. So what I want you to do now is I want you to give yourself a positive statement, and I want you to lock it into that positive statement area. So you could say something like, "I'm a really good person, and I'm doing the best I can to give information to the world." Pink, and I lock it in. Now, when I lock it in, I make a noise and I make an action with my hand. The more that I can connect with it emotionally, physically, and mentally, the more that this becomes a reality for me in this intention creation technique. Now, wherever the negative statement section is, I want you to open it up and take all the files out, and I want you to go over to your trash can and just take them into the trash can and just delete them. Because there's no reason to hold on to the negativity of other people in your life. None whatsoever. You need it not. So now that you have your newfound space, I want you to open up another little inside this computer zone. I want you to open up another little thing, and it's going to be an editing machine. And in this editing machine, you're going to be able to create your day. So you literally open it up, and in the beginning of this, you do this, by the way, before you even get out of bed. You put in this little intention creation machine that, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing this. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing this. At 10:30, I'm here. At 11:45, I'm here. At 1 o'clock, I'm here. At 5 o'clock, I'm here. And at 7 and 8 and 9. And at the end of the day, I can go back to the beginning of my day and see how much of my intention creation machine actually works. And so I now take that in a video that I've made. For instance, let's say you're using editing software. You can see yourself moving through these things. You can now create that and then push play. And you now go live that intention creation machine that you have just created for yourself. Lock it into place positively and then see yourself and start moving in that direction. So all of those, once again, the whole beginning of this entire seminar, from the beginning of what we started, which was now an hour and a half, almost 2 hours ago, the whole entire idea here is that the idea is that you first understand communication from yourself and communication from others, so that you can then move into understanding the communication that you want to put out into the world. So now that we have a better understanding of where we're coming from, where we are, how we're communicating to the world, now I want to get into this next thing, which is called emotional freedom technique. It's called EFT, or also known as tapping. Now, tapping works in a manner where you are going to be taking an idea, whether positive or negative, and effectively tapping your own body in different spaces. Now, a lot of these spaces come from the meridian points or also from acupuncture. And so they are, some people don't really believe in this, some people do. I'm teaching it because it worked for me and it showed me a very beautiful thing and a very good way to make change in your life. And it worked for me. So I wanted to share it with everybody because I really believe in this idea. Now, the idea that it starts off with is that you're going to start with a left-handed karate chop. And in your right hand, this is if you're right-handed, of course. If you're left-handed, you're going to do a right-handed karate chop and you're going to use your left two fingers. But if you're right-handed, you'll make a left-handed karate chop, and your pointing finger and middle finger, while your thumb is going to be holding your pinky and ring finger. Should look something like so. For those of you who are watching, and for you will then take your fingers and you will start tapping the fat of the hand, of the left hand, with your two fingers that are now in this position. While you do this, you will say something to the effect of, I have a, I don't know, let's say smoking problem. Even though I have a smoking problem, I completely and totally accept and love myself. You will then move the tapping from your hand and you will start to tap the top of your head at the center of your head. You will then say a small statement, which is, I have a smoking problem. You will then take that movement and you will take it to the middle of the forehead, which is what's called the third eye. And you will tap there and you will say the same statement, smoking problem. You will then go underneath the eye and you will tap and you will say, smoking problem. You then go underneath the nose, right at the top of the lip where the indention is, and you're on both sides of the indention with your fingers, and you say, smoking problem. You then go to the chin, and you're going to go with your fingers up and down here so that you can go in the middle of the chin, and you're going to say, smoking problem. The whole time, once again, tapping at all times, saying these things. Then the next place you're going to go is to the bone. What is this called? I want to call it the clavicle. I don't think it's clavicle, is it? Um, it's right on the top of your. I forgot. Well, it's right there on the. I can't believe I can't. I'm showing you. I'm showing everybody here who's watching this bone right here, and I have it. I do have it measured out. So it'd be, if you want to, for those of you listening, if you're looking at your throat, in the middle of your throat, if you're going to go on your own body to the right, there's the bone that is above your breast, and it's that bone that's right there. I believe it's the clavicle. I could be wrong. Now, after that, you're going to tap underneath your left arm where the bra strap would be for a woman. You're going to tap right there in the fat of the skin. You'll feel it. It's the muscle there. It's kind of vibrate when you do it. And then after that, you're going to go and you're going to, once again, always at every single point, you're going to be saying smoking problem, for instance, is what we're saying now. Then you're going to go to your thumb on your left hand and you're going to tap on the top of the thumb, saying smoking problem. Then you're going to do the pointing finger, saying smoking problem. Then you're going to do the middle finger, saying smoking problem. Then you're going to go down to the, oh, sorry, you're going to skip the ring finger and go down to the pinky and say smoking problem. Now, I want you to try to do this for yourself And before you do it, I want you to measure from 1 or 0 to 10, 10 being very extreme, 0 being nothing at all. And I want you to tap out. This is the way it's called, tapping it out. I want you to tap out whatever it is that's bothering you. And I want you to try that. And if you do feel a change, let's say it goes from an 8 to a 5, do it again and see if it goes down from a 5 to a 3. You can do this for if you want to stop smoking, if you want to, well, any kind of problem that you have, you can use this. Now, the beauty of this is that you can also use this for positive affirmation and telling yourself really positive, beautiful things. So there's also a really beautiful aspect to it as well in that manner that you can use for yourself. And that, my friends, is the end of the first part of the seminar. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I have to go run really quickly and then come right back. I'm only going to give it about 10 or 15 minutes. That way you can go to the restroom. You can take a break. So it is 11:15 now, 11:17 now. I'll be back here at 11:30. 11:35, we'll come back and we will start the second seminar, which is all about branding and all about um, doing those kind of things, branding your whatever it is that you've come to. Now, before we move on, before we go to the next part of the seminar, I want to come back. I want to look at everything really quickly, and I want to say, all of this once again was to get you to be able to understand where you're coming from and what you're doing with your own communication. Maybe through some of these things, you've seen who you are, and whether you're in the VAC system, or whether it's the lion, owl, tiger. Maybe you found something about yourself that you have now said, okay, I'm getting it. There's this idea here, and I'm supposed to be gathering this information so that I can have better communicational skills. But it's more than that. It's about really diving into oneself to find what it is that we really want to put out into the world, what it is that we really want to give to everyone around us. And so I'm going to now put up the screen share for the internet marketing. And like I said, I'm going to take a little break and I'll be back in just a moment. For those of you who are watching, I truly appreciate you. I really do. I thank you very much for being here with me. I'm going to turn on some music, so we can have something in the background. Take a little break, come back in about 15 minutes, and we'll be doing that here in just a moment. Okay. I found a love for me, darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow.
your home and mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark, you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, you heard, darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope someday I'll share her home. I found love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children. Oh, I feel kids who are so in love, fighting against war. I know we'll be alright. It's time, darling, this whole night. You're not gonna be alright. I see my future in baby, I'm dancing in the dark, you between my arms, listening to our favorite song. When I saw you in that dress, looking so beautiful, I don't deserve this. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark, you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. I have faith in all I see. Now I know I have met an angel in person. She looks perfect. I don't deserve it. You look perfect.
When pain from a cold makes this feel like this, get relief with Tylenol Cold and Flu.
You must think that I'm stupid. You must think that I'm a fool. You must think that I'm new to this.
All right.
Sing this song before.
Who's here?
I'm never gonna let you close to me, even though you made the most of me. Every time I open up,
All right, getting back to the seminar. We're getting on the second part here, and we're going to be doing that We'll be starting the seminar here in about 3 minutes or so, getting back on for those of you who are here with us. For those of you who are interested, there is a seminar workbook. You can pick it up. It's a PDF file. You can download it. I want to thank everybody for coming to the seminar. I'm going to introduce myself again for the second part. So let me just have this song end here, and we'll get into it. If you want to see this seminar and you want to see all the pieces that I'm doing, you can actually watch this on YouTube Live. I have YouTube going right now, and I have the whole entire seminar being broadcasted live through YouTube. So you don't have to just see my face. You can actually see some of the things I'm talking about and some of the videos I'll be sharing. About a minute and a half now, we're going to be starting back up. Thank you, everybody who's come to the seminar today. Thank you for coming and watching. I don't know who's here. I'm going to check right now. Let me see. I got Carlota. Hi, Carlota. How you doing right here? And I don't know who else is here, but I see some other people here. So thank you for coming. And we're going to start here in just a second. In another minute. Hi, how you doing, sweetie? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. It's 11:30. This is the second part of the seminar. Once again, if you are wanting to watch, you can watch this on YouTube Live. I have the whole seminar being broadcast right now, and it's actually with all the slideshows and everything else, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So let me do this really quickly. Let me introduce myself. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Don't know where you are, but thank you very much for coming to my seminar. This is Paul Carpenter, and this is what I'm calling the internet marketing, the mentally hip internet marketing system. So good morning. Thank you very much for coming. So I want to introduce myself. Who am I? My name is, once again, Paul Carpenter. I'm a magician, hypnotist, NLP coach, and I've been traveling around the world doing my form of art and entertainment in whichever form and fashion for many, many years now. So a lot of people ask me many times, why should I listen to you? And the answer is, I believe myself, that I've done a lot of things that many people don't end up doing or end up not wanting to do. They somehow or another, they get scared or they find some reason why not to do it. So the first part of this seminar was basically how to communicate to yourself and to others more effectively, and also to be able to take away fears and phobias from your life. The second is to find out who is that you are and what it is that you want to give to this world, and how to then effectively market yourself, product placement of yourself, a product or your business. So once again, I feel that people should listen to me for a bunch of different reasons, I guess. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. I am a 2-time world record holder. I've had my own off-Broadway show. I've been featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not. I've been a musician, a singer, an actor. I've been on television in many different forms and fashion. I've also been in film in many forms and fashion. So I've done a lot of the things that a lot of people want to do on some level. And I've had some fame, if you would call it that, in the world of the internet, and I've had some some success in my life, and I feel I know some tidbits of information to help share that would make that better for other people. So that's really what this is all about. Now, what is the seminar? The seminar itself, like I said, the internet marketing seminar is going to be all the pieces that you need to know to create what that is. So the index of what we have here is who are you, skill, knowledge, and want, colors, smells, shapes, brand, IEPP, which we talked about the internet, intellectual, emotional, physical 1, physical 2 in the first part, but we're going to go through that as a brand as well. The known or unknown brand, write a book in 10 hours, products, where to find them, where to get them, 3 steps to proofing, how to video, what a video breakdown is, from search to sales, video, then YouTube lead generation, then the sales funnel breakdown, and then email automation breakdown, and then how to build your company for $50. So I hope you're ready because we're about to dive into this in a major way. So that's the index of what we're about to go through. And my goal for you is to at least have one of these modules, one of the things that we talk about in the next bit, which should be about an hour, hour and a half. I hope that any one piece of these things change something for you, that give you something to say, hey, wow, I didn't know that before. And that's a beautiful piece of information. Whatever it is, I hope that you gain something from this. And that's what I'm doing this for. Now, this particular seminar, I have seen people do only part of the modules, like 1 or 2 pieces of this module, and sell this for thousands of dollars. And I'm not joking, thousands and thousands of dollars for this one little thing. So please know that this is completely free and that I'm giving it away. And I hope you enjoyed it. And for those of you who got to see this today, you get it totally free. And then for those of you who didn't, those are the people who are most likely paid subscribers to this, and I thank you as well. So it goes like this. The first part of this is very simply, who are you and what makes you tick? What makes you feel alive? What is your passion? Because I promise you that there's something that you do right here, right now in your life, something that somebody else does not know how to do, and they want to learn it from you, not from somebody else, but from you. And if you don't believe me, you can go to YouTube right now and search for anything on how to, and you will find somebody teaching it. And if you don't find somebody teaching it, then you've just found a niche market that you can totally make $1 million on in less than a year. And I'm not just making that up. It's totally real. If you really put your heart and soul into it, you can make $1 million. And you might be saying to me, Paul, that's crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. But let's take it like this. If you can get 100,000 people to follow you on the internet, and let's break it down even more. Out of the world right now, there are 3 billion people that are on the internet. And out of that, 1.5 billion people are on the internet daily. And I'm asking you to find 100,000 people, and not even daily, but just once a year. All you need to do is find 100,000 people that will buy a product that is worth $10, that you either create or that you find, and that you can then sell to that group of people. So it's that and that's a truism. That's not something I'm making up. I mean, you can see it time and time again right now. There's 1 million people that are online that are saying, hey man, go online and sell something on Shopify. Go online, sell something on eBay. Sell this, sell that. I can show you how. Well, this is the seminar that they're going to sell you anyway. So this is it. The next thing we want to know is, what is the skill, the knowledge, the want? What do you know about already? What is it that you already know about, and what is it that you have a skill that is in that knowledge? And then what you have to ask yourself is, what is the one thing that is always stopping you from accomplishing that thing that you know that you want to do? As soon as you can find that, you have found something that a lot of people want. And it's that simple. I know that it might sound crazy. It might sound like I'm outside of the box, but it's that simple. If you can find something that other people already need through a skill that you already know about, then they're going to want to know how to do that easier. Just in the same sense that I'm teaching this right now, which is marketing, which is how to market yourself. This is something that I learned. I took a long seminar. I think it was a 3-day seminar. And I put together all of those things plus a whole bunch of other concepts and pieces. And I've made my own seminar. Why? Because his seminar teaches, and by the way, the guy's name is Joel Bauer. His seminar teaches you how to do this exact same thing, how to build your own brand, your own identity, your own thing for then the rest of the world to recognize who you are and then buy your product. We're living in a world today where jobs are disappearing. Things that are the technological advancements, like artificial intelligence, like artificial learning, is slowly taking away jobs from everybody else. And so one of the things that I see the future coming to is that we're going to get to a place where nobody has jobs and everybody's going to be given a certain amount of money to live on. And that will get boring pretty quickly for anybody. And I feel that the best way to not be bored in that situation is to have something that you already love to do and share that with the world. If you can share your knowledge and information with other people, then they're more likely going to be wanting to hear what you have to say, specifically more so if they're even looking for that thing already. So that's the next thing that we're going to deal with is let's say we're going to start building a brand. Let's say we're going to start building an idea around us. So to do this, you really need to get into the mentality of being a brand. So I want you to think like when you go to the mall and you walk into Abercrombie and Fitch, it has a certain smell. There's a certain texture in the fabrics that they use. There's a certain look around, right? There's an ambiance that's created when you walk into Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, when you walk into a Starbucks, same thing. The line is always the same. The food is always the same. The locations are 90% the same. The drinks are the same, but there's a feeling that is created. There's the certain colors that are used. So all of that needs to be created in your own mind when you're thinking of creating your own brand. The same thing, let's go to Victoria's Secrets across the hallway, right? So Victoria's Secrets, you walk in, there's a certain smell. I don't know if you know this, but these corporations spend millions upon millions of dollars just creating their own scent. Think of Chanel number 5. The reason that these things are there is because they are brands. And how does a brand happen? A brand happens by repeating the same thing to you 80 times in 1 month. You may not know this, but in 1955, you would see 35,000 pieces of advertising in a lifetime. It is projected that you see 35,000, if not more, pieces of advertising per day now. So there's many things that I could say, like, for instance, da 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 da, I'm loving it. And you immediately know I'm talking about McDonald's. Or if I say, just do it, you immediately know I'm talking about Nike. How does it that's done? It's done through this mental process of knowing that I'm no longer just creating a product, I'm creating an experience. And that experience needs to be felt by the people who come in. And it needs to be felt, as we were talking about in the first seminar, in the visual, in the auditory, and in the kinesthetic, in the feeling, the touching, and the smell. And so when you do this for your own brand, you then create more of an identity for yourself. Now, in this image that I have posted up, I show you here that there's different colors for different things. Red, yellow, blue, and green are the colors that we're going to be using. They're the most primary colors. So as you can see, it says the psychology of colors and brands. The emotion of red is strength, passion, or excitement. Now, many times, food brands will be red, yellow, or orange. And the reason for this is because they make you go fast. This is why they're called fast foods. Now, if you think of the color mustard, the actual color of mustard is brown, but they color it yellow for us to eat faster. This is why most of the foods that we use with ketchup and mustard are handheld foods. We're using them in a fast manner and thinking fast about it. This is why also when you have a red car, your insurance is much more expensive. So the next color we have is yellow, which is intellect, joy, it's energy. The next color we have is blue, which is trust, loyalty, intelligence. And the next one is green, which is freshness, growth, and safety. Now, in the use in marketing, it's used red, which is strength, passion, and excitement, is used extensively in food industries to trigger appetite, conveys strong energy and high confidence, attracts attention, and adds high visibility to the brand. There we go. Now, and yellow, which is intellect, joy, and energy, it conveys positivity, a high energy of optimism, stimulates creativity, and attracts consumer attention, indicates fun, cheerfulness, and a happy brand image. Excuse me. Now, blue, on the other hand, you have loyal, trust, and intelligence. Now, in marketing, it's considered as a more popular brand color, suggests high loyalty and precision, and closely associated with intelligence and trust. And the green one is now freshness, growth, and safety. Now that's is considered as the easiest color for human vision, which is very nice to know. Used to project a relaxing image and environment in stores. And its extensive use is used to indicate environment or a friendly approach. But green is always known as green is clean, right? So now that we kind of understand this idea of brand identity, the idea of having a brand, let's go into the intellectual and emotional qualities of brands. And what you're going to understand here is there's these 4 sections that I talked about in the first seminar: the intellectual, the emotional, physical 1, and physical 2. The intellectual is obviously the mind, and emotional is obviously the heart, physical 1 is obviously stomach, physical 2 is obviously the reproductive part of ourselves. Now, many brands have gone out there and taken over one of these so that it stays within our mind. Remember, if you hear something about 80 times in one month, you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. So the intellectual company is Google, and then the emotional company would be Facebook. The physical company would be Amazon, physical 1, all the things you could ever want and need. And believe it or not, but physical 2 is going to be Apple. Now you might be like, what? Apple? That makes no sense. How does that work? Because this is the brand identity that we're talking about, not the product, but what it is that it shows to the world around you based on why you have it, right? So in this next slide, I'm going to show you a video. And this video comes from a gentleman. His name is Scott Galloway. And Scott Galloway is an NYU adjunct professor, and he teaches marketing PR in NYU. And he has an amazing YouTube channel that you should totally check out. But for right now, I'm going to show this video just for a couple minutes. So for those of you who are on Facebook, aren't going to get to see this, but for those people who are here who are watching the seminar, you'll get to see this now. If you want to watch this live with me, you can see it on YouTube Live. That's youtube.com/Paul David Carpenter. And here we go, watching the seminar that Scott Galloway gave. And I'm just going to kind of forward this out a little bit here and get back to where he's talking. Around 38 seconds. All right, there. And here we go.
I think they're underestimated in terms of actually how much influence economics have aggregate. We know they're great companies, we know they're super successful, but I don't really think we fully appreciate just how dominant they become. So I'm going to take you through some views on how they got so dominant, and then some lessons or some what I believe are uncomfortable questions that we're not asking enough, although it seems to me we're asking more of them just in the last 90 days. So how do you get to be a company that has 1 billion people in your franchise? Or how do you build an organization that has a relationship, a meaningful relationship with 1 billion people? And this is the first and last slide in every class I teach. Now 6,350 students at CERN, or as I like to remind them about, I've created about $34 million in free cash flow. So to understand a business that needs to be big, you need to understand it. And these companies, I believe, all tap directly into a very primal instinct. So let's start with Google. Since our species sort of emerged from caves, we did a super bang. Our competitive advantage of the species is the size of our brain. That's why babies are expelled kind of prematurely because the brain gets too big. And our brain is robust enough to ask a very complicated question. How does faith end? How can someone as awesome as me die? How can there be so much suffering in a world with so many resources? But our brain, unfortunately, isn't robust enough to answer them, so we have consistently adopted a super being, or the notion that there's some power above us that we can pray to, and it will have some sort of divine intervention because this super being sees everything and spit back some sort of answer or guidance. Anyone who has children has prayed or thought, will my kid be all right? You have your planet of stuff, you have your planet of work, you have your planet of friends, and if something goes wrong with one of your kids, the whole universe shrinks to your planet of children. Will my kid be all right? Symptoms and treatment approved. We now turn to the super being known as Google for divine intervention. We don't know how it's doing this to answer our prayers. And prayer is just a question you throw up into the universe, hoping for some sort of processing power that spits back an answer you trust. 1 in 6 queries presented to Google have never been asked before in the history of mankind. What priest, scholar, rabbi, professor, coach, or mentor has so much credibility that 1 in 6 questions posed to that person have never been asked before in the history of mankind? Think for a moment and really absorb your name and your face above everything you have typed into the Google query box. And you're going to fast figure out you trust Google more than any other person or individual with your private information. I think it's a safe assumption that every organization everywhere will be eventually hacked. And if you want to talk about true social chaos, think about your boss, your business partners, your spouses seeing everything you have typed into Google, and then layer on top of it some artificial intelligence that indicates your fetishes, whether you're thinking about divorce, whether you're thinking about starting a new company with or without your partners, what diseases you're worried about, what diseases you're worried about exposing yourself to at that moment. We would have literally social chaos because we trust Google more than any other entity in the world. Google is our modern man. Let's move further down the torso. One of the wonderful things about our species is we not only need to be loved, kids with poor nutrition but good affection have better outcomes than kids with good nutrition but poor levels of affection. We also need to love others. New mothers do not die. When your parents move in with you, your life expectancy goes up 2 to 3 years. The physical and mental act of caring for other people extends your life. And it's easy to see why. Our brain is a low-grade security camera watching everything you do and making a decision around how much value you're adding to society. When you sweat, you can fool the brain into thinking you're hunting prey or building housing. You get to live longer. When you're mentally very stimulated, you fool the brain into thinking you're helping the village elders figure out things for the clan, and you live longer. The act of caring for others, logically, is the most important thing you can do for this people. And so the physical act releases a hormone that clears out the bad cholesterol, and you live longer. The fastest growing demographic group in America over the next 30 years will be centenarians. About 10,000 of them now. It's going to 500,000. We're all going to have people aged 100 in our lives. I see a young man here today. This young man has a life expectancy of 100 years. If you're born into an affluent society, the life expectancy is now 100 years of age. For people our age, the strongest signal of whether we'll make it to triple digits is three things. Number three are genetics. Genetics are less important than we think. We like to think they're number one so we can abuse our bodies and they go that die have been cast. They haven't. If Uncle Joe lived to 95 and smoked 3 packs a day, you should not take that much comfort in it. But if your parents passed away in their 50s, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pass away in your 50s. Genetics are less important than we would like to think. Number two is lifestyle. In some, don't be obese, don't smoke, and you screen out at somewhere between 40 and 60% of early cancer and early cardiovascular illness. But the number one signal of whether or not you're going to make it to 100 is simply put, how many people in your life do you love? How much caretaking are you responsible for? It's a nice notion, and I believe Facebook is tapping into this need to love others, mostly through imagery that creates greater empathy and reinforces and catalyzes our existing relationships and expands our circle of love, if you will. It is helping us caregive at scale. Moving further down the torso. Throughout the history of our species, the number one killer, number one source of illness is malnutrition. And it's a terrible death. Starvation is a terrible way to go. So it is drilled into us that less is bad and more is always better. Open your closets, open your cupboards. You have between 10 and 100x more than what you need. And you know rationally it makes no sense. You look in your closet and think, rationally, do I need more apparel? Do I need more? Out there, immediately I'm drawn to that. Those desks out there selling all the cow stuff. I have a lot of cow stuff in my closet. But I need more. The consumptive self. Amazon is our large intestine, taking in nutrients and then distributing them to our cardiovascular and our consumer skeletal system. But more for less has been the best business strategy in the history of business. It's the strategy of the Chinese economy. It's the strategy of Walmart, the strategy of Dell. Now the company that is deploying this strategy more efficiently than anybody else is Amazon. More for less always works because it is baked into us. You always need more, no matter how much you have. Moving further down the torso. Number one instinct, survival. Most of you, actually probably all of you got up this morning and that box was checked. Very few of us, no, none of us here today are physically worried about surviving through the end. So survival in a modern economy, despite all the headline news and the situation room, and if it leads, it leads, the chances of you dying in the hands of another human being are less than they have been today through all of history. So for most people in our modern world, the threat of survival is not an immediate threat. So that instinct doesn't need to kick in. So we immediately progress to the second most powerful instinct, and that's procreation. And the constant need to signal good genes is incredibly powerful. This is not a timepiece. I haven't wound it in 5 years. It's an $11,000 item that costs $1,800 to produce, movements, steel, glass, plastic, that I wear so I can signal to potential mates that if you mate with me, your kids are more likely to survive than if you mate with someone wearing a swatch.
All right. So as you can see, now that we're at this part of the seminar, you can understand what I meant by the intellectual, emotional, physical 1, physical 2 areas, and how brands take that section of our instincts and gravitate and hold on. Now, in this next video, once again by Scott Galloway, he is expressing, I think it's 13 minutes. Off real quick and then skip that. We'll move it up to 13 minutes and something. So in this point, he starts to talk about the same thing that he was talking about briefly, and he is expressing some other brands and some other ideas. He went with the 4 Horsemen because he wrote a book called The 4 Horsemen, which is an amazing book. You should read it. But in this next section, I want you to hear what he's talking about when he's talking about the brand identity and the value system connected to that brand. So that's what we're going to go to next, and I'll show you the video here so you can see it. And we need sound.
Better, the business gets better, and luxury is in the business of propagation. Tesla is not an environmental car. It's an attempt to tell people you can afford a $120,000 car. The core axiom of evolution is men paying $150,000 for cars that can go 160 miles an hour in domains where you can only go 55. Makes no sense. Women will continue to pay $600 for ergonomically impossible shoes to try and solicit inbound offers from those same men. Don't laugh, I believe this stuff. Anyways, Apple is the only company in history that has successfully migrated down that torso, the only tech company in history. It used to be the best computer, then it sang to your heart with songs. Now it's the ultimate self-expressive benefit brand. This is a heat map of operating systems. This is the iOS operating system, the wealthy areas of Manhattan. As you go into the lower income households in suburbia, Android lights up. By the way, if you see purple in the middle, that's Jurassic Park. That's the dinosaurs using BlackBerry. This is Los Angeles. If you want to live on the coast or in Beverly Hills, you have to own an iOS. If you want to move inland or into South Central, you can use Android. The ultimate self-expressive benefit brand is now an iPhone. For those of you carrying an iPhone, it means you're wealthier and better educated and more likely to have more options in terms of who you mate with. We knew they were going into watches. You want to see a company in denial? Talk to the watch industry. I'm going to fly.
So that right there should blow your mind. It should totally blow your mind that something like that can happen, right? So what we were talking about here is how a brand went from intellectual all the way down to the physical aspect, the most physical aspect of ourselves, which is the want to procreate. Now, in this idea that we are creating a brand, in this idea that we are creating a new concept for other people, you have to choose whether you want to be known or unknown. Now, what do I mean by that? Known would be that you are the brand. You are the J-Lo. You are the Sean John. You are the brand. This is something that I feel, works more often than not. And the reason for that, I believe, is because we're in a world where we're so disconnected from each other that having some connection to some face makes it better. Now, you can be an unknown brand, and by doing this, you use a character or a brand name. Now, when I say character, I literally mean a character, like a Ronald McDonald. That's a character. It's a limited liability corporation, which means there's a lot of people that are in the board, but there's only one person that you're suing, one character that you're suing, an entity. Now, that entity can also just be a brand logo. For instance, like Nike. Nike can just be the logo, and that's what it is. It's an unknown brand in the sense that it is unknown who is the person who owns the brand. So a lot of people, once again, they use that in a way of not having to be seen or known who they are, or who's selling the product. You just know the name of the product, right? Now, what I want to talk about is, let's say you're going to be a known brand. If you are going to be a known brand, then the first thing you need to do is, as we were saying before, what is it that you know? What is it that your skill already is? And how can you find something from knowledge and skill that you already have to things that people want? That could be just knowing how to do that skill. For instance, there's a gentleman who made a website and teaching people how to sell hot dogs on the side of the street. And I know you may, and I might think that that is the most ridiculous thing in the world, but the guy became a millionaire selling a seminar on how to become a hot dog salesman. So in the same way that we can go from not knowing to knowing something, I want you to be able to take in 4 steps, 4 simple steps, how to go from not knowing what it is that you know to knowing what it is that you know. So what are the 4 simple steps that you need to take? Now, once you've done that, I want you to take those 4 steps and you're going to break them down each into, let's say, 2 to 3 steps apiece. So, for instance, if I was going to write how to do a seminar, for instance, like the one I'm doing right now, I would say the first part is I need to have a subject to teach. All right, that's pretty easy. Second thing I need to do is write an index of all the things that I want to teach. It's pretty easy. Then I want to break down each of those into chapters to make it more digestible for the person who's going to do it. Super easy. I need to put those into those 4 sections, beginning, middle, and end, right? And then I need to take each one of those sections and I'm going to get on a computer or on a Facebook or on a whatever. And usually a computer works the best. And you're going to use a voice to text program. And you're going to talk for about 15 minutes on each one of the little subjects. Now, what will happen is you will record yourself talking and you'll record yourself doing voice to text. And then you'll take that information and you'll go to a website like Fiverr.com or peopleperhour.com, and you'll pay anywhere from $5 to $25 per chapter to have your book edited. So in about 10 hours, you should have a completely finished book that you can now have edited and will be returned to you in about 4 or 5 days, completely edited. You then take that book, you go to Amazon, and Amazon has an amazing system which you can go on, sign up for free, upload your book for free, create your own the own backing and the pages and the inside cover and like every single aspect of the book. You can make it a hard copy, a paperback, whatever you want, and then you put it online and start selling it. And that is the first step in becoming a brand. Now, if you look at any person who is well known in some way, shape, or form, you will see that they have a book out in the world. And you will find slowly that a book helps promote you and whatever it is that you're creating. Now, whether people read that book or not really is not the most important thing, because that book becomes the foundation for everything else. The book becomes the foundation for your class. The book becomes the foundation for your seminar. The book becomes a foundation for your free gift. It is everything. It really is. Now, let's go back a couple steps to those people who don't want to be known, who just want to sell a product, but they don't want to sell themselves. They don't want to be the face of the product. That's fine. So one of the things you can do is that you can go and find very many, there's a lot of websites like this. Some of them are named, one of them is DH Gate. Another is Alibaba, AliExpress, Amazon, and eBay. I know that you might think, what, Amazon, eBay? But yes, Amazon, eBay. So one of the first systems that I ever learned, which was a no money down system, you have absolutely nothing in your pocket, but you want to open up a store, and you do have PayPal and you have an eBay. Okay, cool, no problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to go on eBay and find a product that you like, something that you already are knowledgeable about, something that you're excited about, that you're passionate about. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Amazon and find that exact same product on Amazon and find out what it's selling for on Amazon. You're then going to go back to eBay and you're going to copy and paste the Amazon ad into eBay and add $5 to $10 on your eBay account. Now, you might say to yourself, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. It won't ever work. But it does. Here's why. In the creation of brand, remember we were talking about that earlier, there is something where people will go with brand identity. They will go with something that they feel connected with, something that they feel connected to. So if you have a Facebook page, for instance, that is revolving around a certain idea or brand identity, let's say you have a Facebook page that's all about cheetahs, just cheetahs. And you post videos about cheetahs and cartoons about cheetahs and all these things about cheetahs, and then you find a product that you like, and you post that product on that page and you say, oh my God, guys, you have to check this out. This is awesome. And they check it out, people will buy that product because they're into Cheetos. So let's say you did that. Let's say you built a Facebook page with, and you started promoting it and telling people about Cheetos and going to other fan pages with people who have Cheetos and going to YouTube channels of people who have Cheetos, and you're obsessed with Cheetos. So all you do is you promote to other people who have Cheetos that you like Cheetos, and then you go to your your Facebook page, and people start to go to that Facebook page, and then you start promoting products that have to do with that thing. Let's say you did that. You go to Alibaba, and there's something called drop shipping. And this is where you can actually grab a product and never actually have to ever touch it and send it from one thing to another. Same thing that you would do with the eBay Amazon process. You would never have to actually own the product. It would stay in Amazon world, and somebody would order it from you on eBay. You would go to Amazon and then just deliver it to them, and you keep the $5 for doing that interaction. It's like owning a store, really. So that's the way you can go around doing it without having to have a brand in the sense that you're known, and having products that you don't even have right now, and you don't have any money to buy the product. You don't need to buy the product. You just need to know what you want to sell, and then you can go out and do everything else after that. Now, there's also websites that you can go to where you can actually put your own logo on the product. For instance, like Mac cosmetics that are made in the Mac, in China, like in the factory, they will actually leave those Mac cosmetics without any name brand on it, and then you can put your name brand on it and sell it. And it's the exact same thing. You can't say that, but you can sell it, and you can put your brand or your logo on there. So if you're into makeup, or if you're into remote control cars, or if you're into whatever, you can find products in which you can put your name on that product. And I'm not talking about like a cafe press where you put products and it's like a cup or this, that, or the other. No, I'm talking about real products that you have your name on it. Now, you can also do that as well. Once this page of yours or your brand gets big enough, you can sell products of your brand, and people will buy that as well. So let's move on. The next thing that we're talking about is what's called the 3 steps to proofing. The 3 steps to proofing works like this. Anything that you want to sell needs to be proofed to somebody first. So I'm not just going to buy something because I see it. I'm going to buy something because I see that it works the way I want. Or somebody else is going to tell me how great that product was, and then I'm going to want to go get whatever that product is because it was so great for somebody else. So this is the idea of the proofing to somebody else. So as you can see in this next board, the 3 steps of proofing, this actions is to show it works and how, and people who have done it, someone giving a testimonial of you. So the way that most people do proofing videos is like this. It works in a 1-minute video that is 15, 30, and then 15. So the first 15 seconds are 3 people, usually doing testimonials of some sort that will say, oh my God, this guy's amazing, the product's great. Next person will say, it changed my life. The next person will say, oh my God, how does he do it? Great, you got to take his class. And then the next 30 seconds will be an interview process of some sort between the person who created it and somebody else, saying, where is it that you created this? How did this come to be? How does this work? And then the next 15 seconds will be, where do we find you? And how do we connect with you? And where do people get this product? So that's the 3 steps to proofing. Now, when you're on the internet and you have now created a video which proofs your concept and who you are, and you've put it on the internet, you've created a Facebook page. Remember, we're doing everything for free. We don't want to spend any money whatsoever. We're just trying to do everything as free as possible for right now, right? That's what you're just stepping stones. So you have to know that Google and YouTube are the 2 largest search engines in the world. And every time that you search for something on Google, if you look carefully enough, there's a section where it's just videos on the thing that you were searching for. So the way that it works is going to be like this. You're going to go from Google to YouTube. YouTube is going to capture the concept. The person in the video is going to send you to their website. That will send you to what's called an email capture page. An email capture page is something that says, hey, sign up for our newsletter and da 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 da, and you'll get some percentage off. So you sign up usually when you go to the website, and that then sends you to an email automation system, which means you're going to get an email once a week, once a month, maybe once a day that says, hey, letting you know about our new special deals, this, that, and the other. These are all the same systems that you're going to create, and this is how the system works. This is how each system plays in from one to the next to the next. Now, that email capture page goes into the email automation system, but that email capture page, once it disappears, turns into the website. Now, that website is going to lead you into what's called a 3-tier sales funnel, or what's called the Ascension program. Now, before we get into the Ascension program and all these other things, let's break down a video that I'm sure you've seen, which is Ty Lopez, and the first video he ever put out, which is, hi, my name is Ty Lopez, and I'm not impressed with my Lamborghini behind me. I'm impressed with this wall of books. And he then goes through the proofing system. So he goes through the exact same system that we just taught, but he just breaks it down into a larger segment stage. So let's say the video is 15 minutes long. The first 5 minutes are going to be proofing the system. The next 15 minutes are the next part of that section. The bigger chunk of it is going to be what the product is, and then the last section is going to be how to find the product. So here in the video breakdown, I'll read this to you. It says, what to say, when, for how long, and why. Using the proofing techniques in everything you do, you do the same thing here no matter what the length of the video. You only need to lengthen the time of the sequences labeled before earlier. There should be an explanation video, which is 5 minutes, that goes into more in depth. So we have the 1 minute video, then we want to have a 5-minute video. And you should also, all part of it, you should also have a free gift in which is given from the email capture. This should be a video that's about 15 minutes long. So in other words, if you sign up now, I will send you to this video. This video will teach you the 3 steps of how I became wealthy, for instance. Then that will lead to the website. The website will then lead to the Ascension program. Now, before you get to the Ascension program, you'll deal with a seminar of some sort, maybe 30, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half long, depending on what it is, which will lead you to the full module seminar program, which will then be the most expensive thing. So this is how it works, right? So the YouTube lead generation, as we were showing, as I showed you earlier, YouTube goes from YouTube, from the search engine to YouTube, from YouTube to you and your product or whatever it is that you're using. Now, one of the tricks that I like to teach is what I like to call the bonus. The bonus trick that I teach is called the 20 tag trick. Now, this is a very simple, easy thing for you to do that you can learn and you can actually grab something and use for yourself. In YouTube, when you make your videos, there's an area where you can tag your videos. Now, what you should do is you should make 20 tags that represent who you are. For instance, I have here mine. It's Paul Carpenter, mentally hip, magician, hypnotist, NLP, hypnosis, seminar, so on, so forth. Now, in every single one of the videos, you should use this set of tags inside of your video. And then on top of that, every video that you have should have separate tags within that same section. So what happens is that all of your videos start connecting to each other, which is the thing that you really want. Because the more that you can connect it, the more that it has information for other people to connect to you and get to you. So moving on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the email automation system. Now, there's a lot of different websites that you can use. You can use Google Automation. It's a little harder to use, but you can also use other websites like MailChimp, which are free. And you can send, I think, up to 2,000 emails per time, up to 12,000 emails a month. And once again, if you're starting off your business, you're only going to be sending one email out a month. So you really want to have about 20 emails written. And that's going to be one letter for each month, plus a letter that's going to be the thank you letter and the letter that would be connected to your blog that would maybe be the free gift, a PDF file that they'll download or so on and so forth. And you can do all of this using Google Documents. So the way that it's going to work is that once you've created the email automation system, people will be able to unsubscribe if they want. But what will happen more so than anything else is that you're going to keep yourself top of mind in the customer that you are creating, or in the group that you're creating, in the brand and the feeling that you're creating for the people around you. Okay, so now we are down to the Ascension program, or what's called the sales funnel. Now, if you look at it, all sales funnels work in about a 3-tier program, which is the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And when you choose the bronze, like if you're going to buy something, you choose the cheapest one. It'll immediately take you to the silver with a discount. So it'll say, listen, you chose the bronze, but if you get the silver right now, you'll get 25% off. And you say yes or no. If you say no, then it takes you back to the bronze and you buy it. If you say no, or sorry, if you say no to the silver, it'll shoot you up to the gold. And it'll say, hey, listen, you didn't say yes to bronze, you didn't say yes to silver. If you take gold now, you get 90% off and you get it at this price. And you either say yes or no. If you say no, then it'll take you back to the first sale and you'll end up buying the bronze. So this is how the Ascension program works. Now, many times there are ways to, once again, first you go in with just the email that they sign up with. Then you give them some kind of free product, which is a book of some sort. Then, and that could be the book that you wrote in 10 days. And then after that, you start to teach them a class of some sort, could be a seminar on the subject. And then you can have a live seminar, which people could pay for when they come to you to see the live seminar. And so that's also based on the Ascension program. So the next thing we're going to learn about here is how to build your own company for $50. And there is a video that is connected to this, and I'm going to show it to you now. It's, I believe, about 10 minutes long. So I'll let you watch that, and then we can come back and we can talk about everything that we learned today. And I'll take any questions or comments or anything that anybody wants to talk about with me. So right now, we're going to be watching the video on how to start a clothing line for less than $50. Now, I put this together. I just grabbed this video so that people could see it and they could understand it, and they could see what the smaller pieces of the information might be that you need to open up your own business, and how easy it actually is. So let's watch this video now, and I'll post this so you can see it from your point of view over here.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? My name is Jonathan, and I decided to make a video for everyone out there that's trying to start a clothing line or any other brand. I was inspired to create it after, struggling so long with the company that I created, Revived Brand Called, and I was learning everything from scratch, similar to what you're doing. But unfortunately, when you start a business, you're not really sure exactly what you need to look up. So I'm here to help you guys with a couple of the terms. And also, most importantly, show you how you can start your clothing line with less than $50. So the first thing that comes to mind when you want to start a brand or you want to start a company is really planning whatever it is you want to do. Plan, a lot of people call it a business plan or whatnot. So develop that. There's something that's free online. It's a really free tool, very cool tool. I recommend everybody use. It's called Lean Stack. So Lean Stack pretty much allows you to do a one-page plan, very simple, gets everything out the way for you, and you get the streets running pretty much. The next step you're going to need to do is obviously think of a business name. Think about the clothing brand's name. Every idea that comes to mind, write it on a piece of paper. Before we started our business, we had about 150 names, and we decided on Revive Brand Co. and the way that we were going to market that and everything. So that does need to tie in. So after you have your business name, you're going to want to do a trademark. You're going to want to either trademark it or reserve it. Look into that process. That process is a little bit expensive if you do it. If you do it yourself, it's a lot cheaper. If you do it with a lawyer, it's more expensive. But at the moment, you do not need that to start up. But always check their website. Links are down below. And check the website. Make sure that you can use it. Last thing you want is to get sued by a company that owns it. The third step, I would say, when pre-planning to start your clothing line, is get set up with either a logo or some type of branding or some type of thing that when people see that image, they know it's that logo is something that you can put on stickers, you can put on flyers, business cards, spray paint it, who cares? I mean, so, get creative with how you use it, how you market it. So now you have an idea, you have the names. So now you're going to think about the business structure. So my highest recommendation to you guys, the way that you're going to save the most money and the least amount of headaches, is to just go with the sole proprietor. If you're if you're real like me, you're just starting a business, you might have a few friends with you. If they really want to become a part of the business and you know that they're going to be there, they're like a key component to what it is that you're doing, then you'll set up a partnership. Either way, those are the two easiest forms of getting your idea to market, registering with everybody, setting up your accounts, which we'll discuss. So a sole proprietor is the way to go, and it's free. Versus if you do an LLC, it costs you $400. That was $400 that you could have spent on your clothing, to really get the idea to market. So that's going to be the first step to set up your business structure. Like I said, I recommend a sole proprietor or a partnership. So just look for your Secretary of State website, and you should be able to find that. The next thing you're going to need to look into is a fictitious firm name. That's what a lot of people call it. In other words, it's what's your clothing brand's name. So the way that we're structured this video is as if you chose the sole proprietor route. And in the sole proprietor, you're the owner. So the fictitious firm name is your brand's name. It's what you want everybody to know you as. For example, if I did a sole proprietor, it would be Jonathan doing business as Revive Brand Co. In the same similar manner, you're going to want to do that. The fictitious firm name is $20. That's very common across multiple states. And pretty much what that means is you're registering the name with the county that you're operating. Keep that in mind. So you're pretty much registering it there, saying that I'm going to be doing business at this address. In order to qualify for the sole proprietor for free license, they'll give you an exemption for a business license if you do it this way. So you don't have to pay the additional state license fee. And so if you set it up with a fictitious firm name, they'll just ask for you to pretty much document where you're going to be operating, and they're going to want a small charge in order for you to be registered with them. And pretty much that allows you to put the brand's name on the legal paperwork. So the next step you're going to need to do is file an EIN number. An EIN number pretty much just is a employer identification number. To sum it all up, it's a social security number for your business. You're going to need it so you don't put all of your personal information on documents that go out to other businesses. It's free. Beware of the websites that charge you for it, because you can do it yourself. It's as easy as filling out a job application. And if you haven't filled one out before, or if you're not good at them, contact somebody who is. Maybe make them your business partner. Who knows? Once you have that number, you can pretty much start on the sales tax permit. And a lot of people are like, well, what's the sales tax permit? What's the wholesale number? A sales tax permit is pretty much the same thing as a wholesale number. So you can collect taxes off the sales that you make on your shirts, on your bags, whatever it is you're selling. This is an optional step. It's something that I don't recommend everybody do up front, but when you're ready for it, you can pretty much purchase a lot of the items wholesale. So you can buy a lot of bulk items without paying any taxes. And the reason that they allow you to do this is because you're a registered person to collect taxes for your state or your government, pretty much. And if you decide to do it, the cost is $15. You will need to have a bank account or a checking account that you're going to want to pretty much write a check to them for or pay for them electronically. And if you did all the steps before this one, all the paperwork that you had, which was the business license, the sole proprietor, and the EIN number, you're allowed to open up a business account with whatever business you do banking with. And this is a huge step for you to organize your finances, your expenses, and really separate yourself from the business. And now you're ready to pretty much proceed to the next step, which is accepting payments with inventions such as like Square, PayPal, all kinds of them jumping off. They're all for free. So I personally, for my business, I use Square and PayPal. I use Square to collect a lot of personal sales. So while we're at events or somebody hits me up, I'm always selling stuff out of the car. On the website, we pretty much have our PayPal into it. It's very convenient, very low fees for you to pretty much start up. And obviously, when you do higher volumes, you might consider moving up to a bigger processor. But to start off, I would say a lot of businesses use Square. It's very, very intuitive. You can even create an online site on that. It's one of the best ways to go if you're going to be selling stuff, at school, at events, whatever it is. So all of that is free. Like I said, you don't have to pay for that. One of the things that I would recommend you guys do is once you get your name and once you get all your stuff put together, is really budget for a website. You don't necessarily have to buy a website and pull out, go to somebody that's going to charge you a couple $1,000 to create a site. Don't waste your time doing that at the moment. Just reserve the name. That's the most important part. So purchase that website, and that website will cost you anywhere between $7 to $10. And now there's GoDaddy, HostGator, and all kinds of other hosting sites. I personally use Bluehost, and a lot of the brands that I know use Bluehost. They're very good. They're very intuitive, and if you really want to, get your hands dirty with that WordPress on your website, then they have a lot of videos to show you how to do it. So that will cost you $10, which pretty much leads us to a total of about $45, depending on what other little fees you might get that are different from your state. It should be under $50. And just keep a few things in mind when you're starting up. Spend as little as you can. Always try to budget and save. And so with this in mind, website can be a high cost. So there's a lot of things out available.
Okay, so we have now come to pretty much the end of the seminar. And funny that I say that because now I'm getting a phone call. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for everybody who came today, who came to check me out, that wanted to come see the seminar. I truly appreciate you. Once again, if you are serious about your online visibility, if you want to contact me in any way, shape, or form, I work with every single type of budget there is. So if you have anything that you would like to talk about with any of the ideas that we talked about today, please let me know. I would be more than happy to help you on a one-on-one basis. So thank you very much for coming to the seminar today. Thank you for coming and being involved. All the people who made comments and were involved today, I really appreciate you. And I hope that you gained something from this event. I hope that you gained something from seeing everything that was up. And if you, once again, if you have anything that you'd like to talk to me about, please let me know. I would be more than happy to get together with you. There's my website, mentallyhyp.com. This is Paul David Carpenter. Thank you very much for watching the seminar, both of the seminars, the Mentally Hyp Seminar, Desire to Inspire, and the Mentally Hyp Seminar, Marketing 101. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.